Hello everybody, it is John and we are looking at, I guess, one of many unfinished projects that I've started over the years. This one here is a cobbler that I was putting together, which was using the Bretonian plastic kits and obviously the Space Marines, and I was trying to get a knightly order. These figures now, if I ever get around to painting them, will be purely for a narrative style short game of my own making and design, but I've had to glue some of the bits and pieces back together because we've had a few breakages, but as you can see, look, they're not 100%, but I was still in the process of kit bashing, so these have probably still got a fair bit of kit bashing still to go, but I rather like the idea of the Space Marines taking on a more knightly heraldry, you know, like in the early days we used to have feral worlds, and where obviously the knights, the Space Marines. We'll call them Space Marines. They're not Adeptus Astartes. That's a new made-up term. But the Space Marines in the early days were drawn from feral worlds, and I just like the idea of having, you know, heraldic differences between each of the knights. So, you know, I'm almost beginning to think that I may actually make these Dark Angels, and the Lutheran or the Fallen. Probably the Fallen, I think, might be a something that would fit into my sort of narrative storyline. So I've picked up, I think it was Dark Vengeance box set years ago, when box sets weren't as expensive as they are now, but I picked up the Dark Vengeance. It had the Dark Angels in it. If it didn't, please tell me which one it was, but I'm fairly sure it was Dark Vengeance. So I'm thinking that these would make rather good Dark Angels. I think the chap with this icon on his backpack must have been the squad leader. So yeah, I'm reasonably happy, I think, for my skills at the time. So you know, they were all going to have dodgy storm shields or something like that. I'm not too sure how I was going to cater for that. And then I think I've got these two chaps here. I think he might have been the representation of the chapter champion. I'm not too sure what I was doing, to be honest, but you know, I was quite pleased. I think this here, I think, was the was this at the time the Space Marine Commanders set? I think it is, because it's got the cloak, and I thought antlers would do rather nicely there. So yeah, so that was on there. And then I was going to have them supported by, I guess, a little, you know, think of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and the peasants running along behind with coconut shells. These were my coconut bearers. So, you know, what I've done there is just given them the helmets that that were in the Bretonian box set. So there's lots of little bits and pieces from the Bretonian set that I've used, and so mainly gave them shotguns, which I thought, you know, mainly boarding actions. I then decided that there'd be one chap with a standard bearer using one of the standards from the box set, so I was quite pleased that didn't turn out too badly. Look, I'm really not too sure about a musician, but look, I've included him anyway, so he's there. And the last one, which it was a bit of a work, is the chap carrying the shall we say the Chapters Falcon. And these are not ordinary falcons, they're obviously cybernetic because I've included the original metal, or the armor-clad arm from the Bretonnian set, and that's because these winged creatures are so ferocious. So that was my sort of concept. But yeah, anyway, look, this is just one of many projects that I've got floating around that really I should get back to. But look, I just am so much not in a good place at the moment, but we continue to try and distract ourselves. And this was one of those things I thought, look, I'll do a little video. This is something that I've worked on before. I'd really love to be able to get back and start painting again, but until things get better, they're just going to be something that I look at. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and till next time, signing off, the Honourable John.